Akhir pekan ini dampak cuaca ekstrim dirasakan jutaan warga Amerika Serikat di negara bagian Texas hingga Alabama selama libur panjang Natal dan Tahun Baru. Warga Amerika Serikat yang tengah dalam perjalanan mudik atau liburan berada di bawah peringatan terjangan tornado.
Severe weather is expected across the South on Saturday with an outbreak of severe storms and possible tornadoes. Millions are under watches that extend from Texas to Alabama.
We do have a prolonged period of strong to severe thunderstorms, already seeing power outages beginning to mount.
The impacts come as millions of holiday travelers make their way back home. More than 18,000 flights around the U.S. were delayed or canceled Thursday and Friday, and as of Saturday afternoon, more than 100 flights have been canceled Saturday in the U.S., according to FlightAware.com.
This is going to be where most of the delays will be confined today, but notice that we do have the threat for some travel delays across the Northwest as well.
Meanwhile, out west, the risk of heavy rain and mountain snow is expected this weekend. 1 to 2 feet of snow is forecasted across the Northwest and Rockies, causing travel headaches for some drivers.
I got a little freaked out, so I called my parents, and so they were like, just pull over, see what you guys can do.
We got stuck in the snow and we couldn't put on these chains, and he helped us put this on.
Winter weather alerts are in place in parts of the Cascades and Rockies. Heavy rainfall is also expected in parts of the Pacific Northwest, where the area could see up to 10 inches through the weekend. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Lebih dari 120 orang tewas akibat kecelakaan pesawat komersial Jeju Air di Bandara Muan, Korea Selatan pada Minggu waktu setempat, dan beredar video di media sosial pesawat terbakar setelah mengalami kecelakaan. Pesawat Jeju Air yang mengalami kecelakaan itu mengangkut 175 penumpang dan 6 awak. 2 orang dikonfirmasi selamat yang merupakan pramugari di pesawat ini. Namun sampai saat ini belum ada informasi dari pihak berwenang soal kondisi penumpang lainnya. Kecelakaan terjadi saat pesawat dalam penerbangan dari Bangkok, Thailand dan mendarat di Bandara Muan yang berlokasi di bagian selatan Korea Selatan. Dikutip dari laman cnnindonesia.com, kecelakaan terjadi karena kerusakan roda pendaratan. Akibatnya saat mendarat, pesawat keluar dari landasan pacu lalu menabrak pagar. Emosi memuncak saat keluarga penumpang pesawat Jeju Air berkumpul di Bandara Internasional Muan, Korea Selatan. Beberapa kerabat penumpang histeris saat Direktur Pusat Kesehatan Masyarakat Muan mengumumkan nama 22 korban yang diidentifikasi berdasarkan sidik jari mereka. Informasi terbaru, 127 orang tewas saat pesawat Jeju Air mendarat dan keluar dari landasan pacu kemudian meledak. 2 awak pesawat, seorang pria dan seorang wanita diselamatkan dari bagian ekor pesawat yang terbakar. Menurut data kementerian, peristiwa ini merupakan kecelakaan udara terburuk yang melibatkan maskapai penerbangan Korea Selatan dalam hampir 3 dekade terakhir. Lebih dari 120 orang tewas akibat kecelakaan pesawat Jeju Air di Bandara Muan, Korea Selatan pada Minggu waktu setempat. Peristiwa ataupun pesawat nahas tersebut mengangkut 175 penumpang dan 6 awak. 2 orang ditemukan selamat dan kecelakaan terjadi saat pesawat dalam penerbangan dari Bangkok, Thailand dan mendarat di Bandara Muan yang berlokasi di bagian selatan Korea Selatan. Dan untuk mengetahui informasi terkini kita sudah terhubung dengan koresponden CNN International Mike Valerio di Seoul, Korea Selatan. Good afternoon from Jakarta, Mike. We've been getting bits and pieces of information coming in through this morning and afternoon about this accident. What do we know so far?
Well, the central question is what exactly caused the landing gear to fail? And what we've been hearing all afternoon from officials who are handling various parts of the investigation here in South Korea is that a bird strike may have had something to do with the chain of events that led to this absolutely horrible cataclysmic crash. So what exactly we know in terms of the time frame of how this all happened? The flight left Bangkok just after 2 a.m. local time, due in the 9 o'clock hour here in South Korea. And just before landing, just before 9 a.m., the control tower issues a warning to the plane here, the Boeing 737-800. And paraphrasing what the control tower says, it warns the pilot essentially, hey, there are birds near the runway, birds near the approach to the airport. There's the possibility that bird strikes could happen please be careful. So 2 minutes after that warning is sent, that's when the pilot sends out a mayday call. And then about 4 minutes, perhaps a little bit less than the mayday call, that's when the crash happens. But what's unclear, among the myriad things that are pretty unclear, is how exactly there would be a connection from a potential bird strike to the plane coming in so fast. We see it right now on the screen. The plane landing very close to the end of the runway. The flaps of the plane wings not being up. Those are one of the primary methods of slowing the plane down. And what exactly was going on in the cockpit. Now, as you mentioned, there are those two survivors. They were members of the crew, a man and a woman, who were sitting in the tail section, the only part of the aircraft about 15 meters tall that survived and is still looking somewhat how it used to look like. So because they were seated so far back in the aircraft, they were miraculously able to survive. So we have one crew member who's in a hospital here in Seoul, South Korea right now. The second survivor is headed to Seoul, where we are in the not too distant future. So a whole multitude of unanswered questions, but the central one is what exactly went wrong? Why did the landing gear on the belly of the aircraft underneath it not deploy when it was needed most?
Okay, Mike, so can you confirm the death toll of the plane crash and how's the condition of the two survivors that you mentioned before?
We're still unclear of what the conditions are of the two survivors. We're not sure if they are able to speak to investigators at this hour. That is something that we're working on here in our reporting in CNN out of Seoul. And just repeat the first part of your question. Sorry, the signal just broke up ever so quickly.
Okay, so Mike, some people question about the condition of the airplane beside of the reason why the crash happened. Any confirmation from the airline that the plane, was it in a good condition?
It was in great condition, according to the airline. So this is Jeju Air, which, you know, if you're not too familiar with South Korean characters, this is a budget airline, and it flies all throughout Southeast and Eastern Asia to all of these idyllic, beautiful vacation destinations. So what we're dealing with here in terms of the human factor, just think of multiple families coming back from assumedly terrific vacations in Thailand during the Christmas holiday, coming back home to South Korea for the New Year, and then, you know, the unimaginable unfolding. But according to the CEO of Jeju Air, the airplane here, the Boeing 737-800, had no record of any kind of safety mishap since it was bought by the airline in 2009. Manufactured, of course, by Boeing. So we could be seeing Boeing investigators from the United States heading to South Korea to figure out just what went wrong with this aircraft.
Okay, Mike, so how long will this investigation take?
You know, it could take between 2 to 3 years for the investigation to take its full course. But there is so much pressure for a preliminary result to come out much sooner than that. Because I'm sure you all have seen the headlines of martial law declared here in the late hours of December 3rd into early December 2nd. We've had 3 people holding the powers of the presidency. So there, no mistake, is a pall of, you know, this shadow over South Korean life right now, and just this cataclysmic event ending the year. This has just weighed so incredibly heavily on a whole multitude of people throughout the country. So there will be increasing pressure to publicly announce just what happened here, even though the investigation proper could technically take 2 to 3 years.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike, for your report. Terima kasih, koresponden CNN Internasional, Mike Valerio dari Korea Selatan.
Thank you.
Presiden Rusia meminta maaf kepada